Never looked better than this before. But here I am. It's the Geek Speak show at Silver Scream Festival, the first one, hopefully, turn to be an annual event. Now, here we have something that we do, fellow podcasters. How you guys doing?
Hey, doing great. How are you?
It's called Forever Midnight.
Yep.
That's
they
right.
talk about, if we're at a horror film festival, what do you think they talk about?
Take a wild
guess.
guess.
What do you guys talk about?
Oh, well, we talk about scary movies, old and new. We talk about things in our lives, just the usual stuff, but mostly horror movies, old and new.
Yeah.
Okay,
We talk about music, soundtracks, paraphernalia, art, that kind of stuff.
introduce yourselves also, so everybody knows who you are.
I'm Brian Henderson.
I'm Josh Staples.
Jeff Overn.
So Brian, Josh, and Jeff. So when did you guys start this? And whose idea was it? Who said, "Hey, let's do this"?
I think it was my idea. I was doing another podcast at the time, and whenever time the three of us get together, we just spend so much time talking about horror movies and just cracking each other up and having a good time. And like, we should really just record this. We can talk forever doing this kind of stuff.
How
And
most
we just
podcast
did.
starts, actually.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Exactly.
And it's working out really well so far. Yeah, we have a great time.
How long you been doing it?
I think
End of 2013. So yeah, that was our first episode. It was like August. So towards the end of it,
Okay,
2013.
and now I know from having done it for a while, it's a good idea. It sounds like a good idea at least. Like, hey, we have good ideas. We love this stuff. Let's put it together.
Yeah.
And when you start putting your podcast together, it doesn't always work out. For you guys, was it perfect from the beginning, or how many did you have to do before you hit it?
Oh yeah, there was never a hiccup, never an episode
Wink,
that we recorded that had some sort of sound glitch that we had to completely ditch and was disheartening and awful.
Yeah, we never made a suicide pact after that. That never happened.
There was never a suicide. There was a suicide pact. It was bleak for a minute, but it's been really. I mean, you work through those things. You learn what to do, what not to do. You learn how to have a backup of some sort. Like right now, we have always 2 recording devices going at any given time. We've really risked it a few times. We interviewed.
So I guess that means you've had it already, where you record a great show, but it just didn't record.
Oh yeah.
That's usually how most people learn. Hey, we got to get a backup.
Yeah.
That's totally.
I've had
a real banger episode, and it just lost it all. Deleted or something, or the power was not. I don't know. Something went wrong, and we couldn't use it. It was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
It's
Like
brutal.
2 hours of our lives gone forever.
Well, it's not just that. It's like you when you're recording it, you're like, man, this is so great. It's actually happening. We're recording all this stuff. It's actually working. We're getting a great rapport, like interviewing somebody, and then you get there and you realize, oh, I forgot to actually plug the device in, so it was just recorded from the corner of the room on my laptop. It's the shittiest sounding podcast you're ever going to hear. I don't know if you can curse on yours. I apologize.
You can't. It's a podcast.
Okay, cool. Yeah, right. You can say whatever the fuck you want. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you talk about on the show, or any episode? Are they all different, or is it pretty much?
We'll usually talk about 1 to 3 movies every episode. If we're doing an episode that's just the
New
three
or
of us.
classic or whatever?
Usually both.
Yeah.
Usually we'll watch one that we've never seen. Like our first episode was comparing the new Maniac when it came out to the original Maniac by William Lustig.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of how we started, just kind of like watching a new movie and an old movie and comparing and contrasting. And we're so, we just kind of love older 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s horror movies that we end up almost favoring those. Like, we're a little biased.
Well, let me ask you this then. But each one of you answer, and this is only their personal opinion. From that, I'll call it the classic horrors. Today's horror, how do you see it compared to what we consider horror? I'm talking like the Saws and the Paranormal Activities and all those.
Well, I think there's merit to all of them. I think there's interesting things they're breaking. I like a lot of things about the Saw movies, and I like a lot of things about those movies. They're not my favorite. My favorite films are American Werewolf in London and Poltergeist and The Shining and things that
the
are...
original Poltergeist, not the remake.
Of course. The original Steven Spielberg, Joe Beth Williams, Poltergeist. And I say Joe Beth Williams
we always
because...
do that. Steven Spielberg, but it was Tobe Hooper actually directed.
Sure.
He did produce it.
Yeah, Tobe Hooper, of course he did. But...
Wink.
Of course he did, and I believe that he did. And we one of our first interview was with Michael Grace, the screenwriter of Poltergeist, which was a huge deal for us because it was kind of a joke where this shirt here, which is actually like a Poltergeist shirt for sure.
Yeah.
We would never. All we talked about was comparing movies to Poltergeist. Well, it's no Poltergeist. Every episode like that is not even close to Poltergeist. So that's our gauge. It's such a huge, such a great human story and such incredible acting and screenwriting. And with all those effects, like with the huge budget industrial light magic effects, it's hard to beat. It's a hard one to beat. And it was a horror movie for sure. It's about the other side, and it's about ghosts and losing your family and that kind of stuff. It's
practical effects, which we love, and none of the junky CGI stuff, and it feels real.
Just great acting across the board.
Yeah, so
we can relate to it.
that was our gauge, and it kind of remains our gauge. And we're not. I mean, I don't think any of us have even seen the new Poltergeist because we don't want to get our feelings hurt.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm not about to watch it.
Boycotted it fully.
Yeah, we're like, why? It's a near perfect movie. How are you gonna make it any better? You're not.
Yeah.
So
well, see, that's another question. Also, is in an age after 9/11 when the whole world saw something real, scary.
Sure.
How do you scare people now?
We think it's more psychological. I think. I mean, personally, right? Like a little more. At least that's what we enjoy. I think a little more.
Horror is always a way of like dealing with those situations. Like any kind of big tragic thing happen, like a war, or so you say the 9/11 towers. You'll see a lot of movies kind of dealing with that. Cloverfield came out right after that.
Yeah.
You see buildings crumbling just like you did on 9/11.
did Signs come out after 9/11 too? I think it
was before.
Was it before?
I want to say.
It might have been before, wasn't it?
Those kind of like horror movies are a good catharsis and a good way to like deal with those emotions and those feelings you get, and the pain of going through something tragic and something horrific itself,
Yeah.
You can't just bottle it up. You got to release it somehow.
Sure.
Horror movies is a good, safe way to do that.
Yeah, and I believe that when you see a new movie, like if you see an It Follows, like an original idea that you've never seen before and you don't know how to react to, like you've seen so many zombie movies that you know how to react, you know the rules. But when you see something like It Follows, for instance, which is a movie you may have seen, it's a brand new concept that you have no idea how to prepare yourself for, and you're learning the rules as the movie's happening, and I think that's a great success when you can do that and develop something brand new, like a new genre, a new sliver of this genre.
A lot of the movies that have come out, say, since post 9/11 have all been very like gory and just in your face more, and not really kind of. There's not a whole lot of story to them, where like the story and more of like something new is what speaks to us, and what a lot of the old classics, of course, because they were the first ones to do what they're doing. That's why we love those movies.
Yeah, and that's the key. What speaks to us, see, not just the horror, but I always say, like in sci-fi, good sci-fi is something that should be like a mirror. It makes us look at us.
Right.
Like the original Star Trek is an example of that. Horror should be the same thing. Sure. Kind of like riding the roller coaster. Yeah, you're gonna scream, you're scared and all that, but at the end, there's a smile. You're laughing about it, and that should be a good horror film.
Sure.
No, but that's what I was asking is, do the Saw, what a lot of people call the gore porn, like those kind of horror movies, do they do anything, or is it just there?
I don't know about you guys, but torture porn stuff doesn't do much for me. Like disgust and fear are like two different things,
Yeah.
So I mean, like if that was a conjunction with like some dread, and like so they're building up tension, and there's a big gory moment, then that works. But if it's just gore and there's not much else, it doesn't do much for me. I don't know about you.
There are things that are like extraordinarily violent, like the Saw movies and like those movies that have been effective. I think Martyrs is a movie that we've all seen and we
Hostel
loved.
And movies like that.
Yeah,
but
so
it has a way deeper kind of idea to it too.
Like the violence isn't just for violence's sake, and it's not just for like sadism. It's more like there's a deeper meaning to it, and it'll actually be more effective that way. I think it doesn't have to be just in your face violence, and that doesn't appeal to me, and it never really has. I mean, watch Rambo, and sure, that's ridiculous, but it's not. It doesn't scare you. It's like, okay, that's just silly. Watching people explode is silly.
Yeah. And we could have sent him over there, and he could have won the Vietnam War single-handedly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know. Let me see how you guys see this. I don't know how the Purge movies, they all of a sudden became horror movies. I mean, how does that work? I don't make the connection.
No, well, it depends. Like, I think the second Purge movie was a better attempt, or at least a better idea, because it wasn't just a breaking and entering scary movie where you have people outside your house trying to get you. It's like, it's a great idea. You're just gonna see all this crazy stuff, and you're gonna see the ramifications of this wild idea. And that, I mean, it's a ridiculous idea. Like, it doesn't. That's like one of the
close to like Republican propaganda, pretty much.
It's pretty much what the Trump presidency is going to look like. But if it's like the good thing about this genre and about horror movies altogether is that there's something for everybody. Like, if you like funny movies that are scary, you got those. If you have a movie where you want to experiment with the social ramifications of something like The Purge, you have that. If you want to see Donnie Wahlberg get his head smashed by ice blocks, you could do that. There's something for everybody. There's funny, there's like a cult, there's, slasher. There's something for everybody, except for people that don't like to be scared.
Yeah.
There's nothing for those people.
Yeah.
Maybe the Woman in Black is for those people.
Yeah, so there's a little taste of what you can hear. How often do you guys post the new episodes?
We are not on a schedule. We're we're getting more frequent these days, but it's usually 1 to 2 a month.
Okay.
So
They're long, chunky episodes, so it's not just like a little half-hour thing. We usually run about an hour to 2 hours.
yeah.
So you got a lot to listen to over the week.
Which is actually okay, because I've learned over the years doing this that people actually don't sit down and listen to an entire episode. They listen in chunks, at
Sure.
work, on their way to work, or wherever they are. So
Yeah.
that's actually a good idea to do it that way. So you have the podcast. Anything else you want to expand this into maybe video or anything else?
We hope to expand to video. We do all the art here. All the art is and merchandise we put together ourselves. Brian's a photographer, so these photographs are his. Jeff's an illustrator and does these beautiful pictures here. I do design work, and I do like the technical printing aspect of a lot of it. So I do a lot of the layouts and draw a bit myself. In addition to that, we're releasing a record this year. A soundtrack to a horror movie, which we'll be talking about more this month. In the middle of March, we're going to announce what it is, and a vinyl record with a big poster, and it's going to be beautiful.
That's going to be killer. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
And so, in addition to that, we're doing more pin releases and just more fun stuff. We just love fun stuff and realizing these cool ideas that we've grown up with, like the Famous Monsters pins here and stuff that Jeff invented, like the Reanimator logo. That was the coffin with the syringe inside. We did it for a poster that actually in this building they showed Reanimator with Barbara Crampton in the audience and did a panel on one of these Thursday night cult series movies, and we made a poster for it. That poster ended up being the pin back. So we've worked with this theater, and we're from this town, so we're just loving being here, really.
Yeah, and this is the second day as we record this for the Silver Scream. From what you guys are seeing so far, what do you think?
Success, I think. I mean, there's a ton of people. Everyone seems happy. Definitely been a lot of good feedback from everyone. So,
sure. And I love that you're in these close quarters where Robert Englund is walking up and down these halls. There's not like he's not going outside to some parking lot and taking off in a van. He's coming through. He's saying hi to everybody. He's having a good time. It's not so crowded that it's crazy, but it's comfortable. And who knows? Next year might not be as comfortable because of the success of it, but it'll probably still be completely awesome.
Yeah, that is true. Heather Langenkamp was actually like right next to me a few minutes ago. So yeah, it is that cool. So anything else you want to plug about the show or anything else?
Yeah, please check out the show. It's free. It's on iTunes and it's on our website. It's Forever Midnight is the name of the podcast, and our website is forevermidnight.net. Please check us out there. That'd be awesome. And thanks for spending time with us. It's cool.
No problem. I'm sure you have the socials, Twitter, and all that.
Yeah,
it's
all that
on the
stuff.
website.
We're on all those things.
Okay, so that's where if you love horror, that's where to find it.
Yeah.